Things got spicy between Dwight Howard and Lance Stephenson during their Big Three debuts. Midway through Saturday's game between the Los Angeles Riot and the Miami 305 in the 3-on-3 basketball league, the two former NBA stars became the center of a moment that would go viral, erupt into social media discourse, and spark debates about ego, legacy, and the ever-blurred line between competitive spirit and personal conflict. The two athletes, known for their intensity on the court and polarizing personas, got into a heated, all-out brawl that eventually spilled into the stands, catching everyone from fans to announcers completely off guard. It started with a scuffle. Lance Stephenson had gotten into it with another Riot player during a heated play near half-court. It was hard to tell what triggered it. Perhaps it was a hard screen, a mistimed elbow, or a word said too close to the wrong ear. But what was supposed to be just another tense moment in a passionate contest escalated into something far more combustible. As the dust from that initial scrap barely began to settle, the real storm formed just a few feet away. Howard and Stephenson, both known for having larger-than-life personalities and short fuses when provoked, found themselves on a collision course. Cameras caught the two jawing at each other on the baseline. The exchange appeared sharp, personal, and heated. Eyewitnesses, sitting courtside, described it as not just trash talk. This felt deeper. Some fans later speculated that the animosity may have been brewing long before this game, maybe even from their NBA days when pride, power, and presence often clashed under the bright lights. The altercation quickly escalated into physicality when Howard initiated contact by shoving Stephenson. It wasn't a light push. It was a bold, intentional gesture, the kind that turns a disagreement into a melee. Both men, muscular and powerful even post-NBA, surged toward each other like bulls locking horns, their path veering off the court and dangerously close to the crowd. That's when things went from bad to worse. As the two moved into the stands, fans began screaming and scattering. Security scrambled to respond. But it was too late. Stephenson had tackled Howard to the ground in the middle of the fray. Cameras captured the two grappling while a nearby vendor dropped a tray of nachos and sprinted for cover. Children were rushed away by their parents. Some fans had their phones up, recording the chaos. Others tried to shield themselves. For a moment, the game and the sport took a back seat. The only spectacle that mattered was the raw, unfiltered aggression of two former NBA players caught in a moment that would overshadow everything else. Howard, 39, and Stephenson, 34, were making their debuts in the Big Three League, a place where legends, fringe stars, and respected veterans gather to continue competing in a format that's as much about entertainment as it is about skill. Both players had been out of the NBA for over 3 years. The Big Three, founded by rapper and entrepreneur Ice Cube, had grown since its inception in 2017 into a legitimate destination for former pros looking to reignite the flame of competition. It was meant to be about the love of the game, about giving fans another look at their favorite players while also giving those players a new platform to shine. But no one expected this. Dwight Howard's career, by any objective measure, had been a decorated one. He came into the league as the #1 overall pick in 2004 and went on to play 18 grueling, transformative seasons in the NBA. At his peak, he was the most dominant defensive force in basketball. He was an 8-time All-Star, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and the anchor that led the Orlando Magic to the 2009 NBA Finals. He won an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2020, in the surreal pandemic-altered Orlando bubble, a poetic full-circle moment in the city, where his career began. But Howard's road was never smooth. His career was marked by drama, clashes with coaches, criticisms about his focus, and debates about whether he ever truly fulfilled his potential. The basketball world, especially fans and media, never quite agreed on what to make of Dwight Howard. Was he a misunderstood giant with a vibrant personality, or a gifted player who let his immaturity and ego sabotage what could have been a top-tier legacy? That debate reached a crescendo in 2021 when Howard was snubbed from the NBA's 75th anniversary team, a list honoring the league's greatest players. For Howard, the exclusion stung deeply. He didn't lash out publicly in anger, but he let the pain simmer. Then came April 2024, when he was finally inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, a vindication that arrived like an overdue apology. Speaking with Forbes after the announcement, Howard said the honor gave him a solidified feeling. His exact words echoed with emotion. "It's more like planted in the ground, plastered on the wall of forever. In Lamb's Book of Life, that's how that feeling is." It was poetic, spiritual, even biblical, and deeply telling of a man who spent most of his life trying to be seen for more than just his dunks and antics. And then there was Lance Stephenson. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Stephenson embodied the gritty, tough-nosed playground style that made New York basketball famous. He had swagger, flash, and a fearlessness that made him both beloved and maddening. His on-court moments were immortalized, not necessarily because of stats, but because of flair. Blowing in LeBron James's ear during the 2014 Eastern Conference Finals, dancing after threes, spinning into the lane with reckless beauty. Stephenson's NBA journey was a winding one. Drafted in 2010, he played for multiple teams, including the Indiana Pacers, Charlotte Hornets, and the Lakers, the latter of which placed him briefly alongside Dwight Howard. His talent was undeniable, but consistency and team chemistry often eluded him. Still, he was a showman, and in the Big Three, showmen thrive. The league was built for personalities like his. Yet, instead of dazzling fans with his ball handling or clutch shots, his debut will now be remembered for this fight. As clips of the brawl flooded social media, the basketball world responded in typical fashion, with a mix of outrage, jokes, support, and deep analysis. Twitter exploded with memes. Former players weighed in. Fans took sides. Some blamed Howard, citing his history of confrontations and emotional swings. Others pointed fingers at Stephenson, saying he provoked the situation. The league released a statement hours later condemning the altercation and promising disciplinary action, though fans speculated whether the incident would, paradoxically, boost interest and ticket sales. Behind the scenes, sources close to the league said tensions had been running high even before tip-off. There had been rumors that both Howard and Stephenson had unresolved issues from their time in the NBA, possibly dating back to when they were both briefly part of the Lakers. Competitive pride, past frustrations, and new egos clashing on. A smaller stage created a pressure cooker situation. The Big Three may be half-court, but there's nothing small about the personalities on display. In the aftermath, Howard was reportedly frustrated by how the narrative spun out of control. According to a source familiar with his camp, he felt targeted, believing that the media continues to paint him as a villain regardless of context. Stephenson, on the other hand, remained mostly silent, but did post a cryptic message. On Instagram later that night, a photo of him in his Big Three jersey with the caption still standing, "Always will." By Sunday, videos of the brawl had already reached millions of views online. Sports shows debated the incident. Commentators dissected every frame like it was the Zapruder film. Footage slowed to milliseconds, analyzing who pushed who said what, and who escalated it. But beyond the surface-level entertainment value, there was something profoundly human about it all. Two men, once celebrated on the biggest stages in basketball, now found themselves fighting, literally, for respect, identity, and validation in a new chapter of their careers. It wasn't supposed to be this way. The Big Three had given them both a chance at reinvention. For Howard, it was about reminding the world that he still had gas in the tank. For Stephenson, it was about reclaiming a piece of the spotlight he once held. But instead, their moment of redemption turned into a Cautionary tale.